Imagine this, it's April 13th, 2029. Millions of people look up at the night sky and see a blazing object streaking across, so close, it's below many of our satellites. Scientists call it Apophis, but in ancient Egypt, Apophis was the god of chaos, the serpent that tried to devour the sun. And here's the kicker, as some believe this asteroid lines up with biblical prophecy, the wormwood star from Revelation, a fiery mountain cast into the sea. The media says there's nothing to worry about. But what if the truth is more complicated? Stick around, because once you hear this story, you won't look at the sky the same way again. Apophis isn't just another rock floating out there. It's roughly 370 meters across, about the size of the Empire State Building, and it's moving at nearly 31,000 kilometers per hour. When it passes Earth in 2029, it'll come closer than many of the satellites we depend on for communication, GPS, and even banking systems. That alone is unprecedented. But what makes this event more spine-chilling is the way it collides with both science and prophecy. Back in 2004, when Apophis was first discovered, NASA estimated a 2.7% chance of impact in 2029. That may sound small, but it was enough to cause sleepless nights among astronomers. The asteroid was given the highest rating ever, level 4, on the Torino scale, which measures impact threat. For comparison, most asteroids we hear about rank a reassuring 0. Over time, new observations refined the orbit, and the official risk for 2029 was downgraded to safe. Yet experts admit that gravitational keyholes, tiny windows in space, could nudge Apophis onto a future collision course, perhaps in 2036 or 2068. Think of it like threading a cosmic needle. If it passes through the wrong corridor, the outcome decades later could be catastrophic. Now, add another layer. The Book of Revelation describes a great star named Wormwood, falling from heaven and poisoning the waters. Some theologians have connected that imagery with modern asteroid threats. They argue that Apophis, bearing the name of an ancient destroyer, might not be coincidence at all. Suddenly, what seemed like a dry scientific topic becomes charged with ancient symbolism and spiritual weight. And here's the loop we'll keep open: what if Apophis is not only a scientific spectacle, but a warning written into the fabric of history, an event humanity has been sensing for millennia? Asteroids have buzzed past Earth for billions of years. But Apophis is unique. At just 31,000 kilometers from Earth's surface, its 2029 flyby will be closer than geostationary satellites. That means humanity will witness a cosmic event like never before. Astronomers say Apophis will shine as bright as the stars of the Big Dipper, visible even without telescopes. Picture millions gathering on rooftops, watching a moving point of light, knowing it's the size of a skyscraper. Scientists like Richard Binzel of MIT have explained that Apophis belongs to a class called near-Earth objects. These are monitored carefully because history shows what happens when one slips through undetected. The asteroid that exploded over Chelyabinsk in 2013 was just 20 meters across. It shattered windows and injured over 1,000 people. Now, imagine something nearly 20 times larger skimming past. And here's where it gets tricky: Apophis isn't a solid rock. Radar images suggest it's a rubble pile, a loose collection of boulders held together by gravity. That makes predicting its future path harder. If Earth's gravity tugs at it in 2029, the asteroid could shift in ways we don't fully grasp. NASA admits the gravitational slingshot could change its trajectory, by a little or by a lot. Think of a cricket ball skimming the stumps: it doesn't hit, but it changes the game. In cosmic terms, that's Apophis. And like in cricket, it only takes a small deflection to decide the outcome. This is where science meets uncertainty, and uncertainty is what keeps scientists awake at night. Humanity has faced asteroid strikes before. 66 million years ago, a 10-kilometer rock slammed into what's now Mexico, wiping out the dinosaurs and reshaping Earth's climate. More recently, the Tunguska event in 1908 flattened 80 million trees across Siberia, though no crater was left behind. Both remind us that asteroid impacts aren't just Hollywood plots, they're recurring chapters in Earth's story. Ancient texts might have noticed this cycle too. In Mesopotamian mythology, fiery stars falling from the sky were often recorded as omens of divine anger. In Revelation, wormwood isn't described as destroying the planet outright, but as poisoning a third of the waters. That detail strikes scholars because asteroid impacts in oceans can release toxic chemicals and cause massive tsunamis, contaminating coastlines for centuries. There's also oral tradition. The Aboriginal peoples of Australia, for example, tell Dreamtime stories of fire from the sky, which researchers like Dwayne Hamaker at Monash University argue may preserve memories of actual cosmic events. These stories often describe floods, darkness, and chaos, eerily similar to the aftermath of an impact. So when modern eyes look up at Apophis, the event isn't happening in isolation. It's part of a human narrative stretching back thousands of years. Civilizations that watched the stars and feared the heavens might have been trying to warn us, or remind us, of what happens when the sky falls. Imagine if Apophis did more than just pass by. Let's suppose a fragment broke off and hit Earth. Scientists at Purdue University modeled impacts from asteroids of Apophis size. The results? Regional devastation, shockwaves flattening cities, tsunamis slamming coasts, and dust clouds disrupting agriculture worldwide. While not an extinction-level event, it would still be catastrophic. But even without a collision, the flyby could wreak havoc. Passing below our satellite belt means any disturbance could knock out communication systems. In a world where banking, air traffic, and even farming rely on satellites, a sudden blackout could paralyze modern life. Think about how society reacts when the internet goes down for a few hours. Now stretch that to days, weeks, entire nations cut off. There's also the psychological effect. A visible asteroid lighting up the sky might not hit, but fear alone can trigger panic. In 1938, Orson Welles' radio broadcast of War of the Worlds convinced listeners that Earth was under alien attack. If fiction caused chaos, imagine the impact of a real celestial body flying closer than any in recorded history. And here's where vulnerability meets irony. Humanity spends trillions on defense against each other, but until recently, almost nothing on defending against asteroids. The DART mission in 2022, successfully nudging an asteroid's orbit, was our first real test. It proved we can alter a rock's path. But would we be ready if Apophis, or one like it, were truly headed for us? Events like Apophis attract more than scientists. They pull in prophets, theorists, and those who see patterns in the chaos. Some suggest elites know more than they admit, preparing underground bunkers or redirecting public attention with politics and wars. Others connect Apophis with 2030 global agendas, whispering that humanity is being conditioned for crisis. Then there's prophecy. Thomas Horn, author of The Wormwood Prophecy, claims insiders at NASA believe Apophis is wormwood itself. He ties this to Revelation's imagery of stars falling and waters turning bitter. Whether one takes that literally or symbolically, it adds a chilling layer. Is Apophis just physics, or is it woven into a narrative larger than us? Even pop culture feeds the loop. Films like Deep Impact and Don't Look Up resonate because they mirror both scientific truth and human denial. We laugh at satire, but deep down, we recognize the vulnerability. What matters is how these stories affect behavior. Fear can paralyze, but it can also unite. After all, when humanity first saw Earth from space in 1968, that image reshaped how we viewed our planet. A single rock approaching could do the same, reminding us of shared fragility. Here's the real kicker: Apophis may never strike Earth. But the way humanity responds to the threat will define us. Will nations share data, pool resources, and act as one species? Or will fear drive division, secrecy, and mistrust? There are hopeful signs. International groups like the Planetary Defense Coordination Office didn't exist a decade ago. Now, space agencies collaborate on monitoring and mitigation strategies. Scientists like Neil deGrasse Tyson remind us that while nature bats last, humanity finally has a bat of its own. But there's another angle: consciousness. Greg Braden and others argue that collective thought can influence reality, that awareness itself shapes outcomes. Whether one sees this as metaphysics or psychology, the effect is real. When humanity unites around a shared challenge, innovation accelerates, barriers dissolve, and progress leaps forward. So maybe Apophis isn't just a threat. Maybe it's an invitation, a wake-up call from the cosmos. History shows crises often catalyze breakthroughs: wars leading to penicillin, disasters leading to safety reforms, space races leading to satellites. Could Apophis be the spark for a planetary shift, from rivalry to cooperation? Apophis is coming. That's not up for debate. On April 13, 2029, millions will look up and witness a cosmic event humanity has never seen before. The question isn't whether it will pass by, it's how we'll respond to what it represents. For some, it's a scientific marvel, a chance to study a near-Earth object in detail. For others, it's a reminder of prophecy, of wormwood, of cycles written into scripture and myth. For still others, it's a symbol of our vulnerability in a universe that doesn't revolve around us. But above all, Apophis is a mirror. It reflects our fear, our faith, and our choices. It forces us to ask, will we use this time to prepare, to unite, to innovate, or will we laugh it off until the next rock comes closer, maybe too close? In the end, maybe that's the real lesson. The universe doesn't send us emails or alerts. It speaks in events, in alignments, in moments that shake us awake. And Apophis, whether destroyer or messenger, is one of those moments. If this journey through science, history, and prophecy made you think differently about the sky above, don't just leave it here. Hit that like button, it tells the algorithm this story matters. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next deep dive into mysteries that shape our world. And share this video with friends, family, anyone who looks up at the night sky with wonder or worry, because conversations like this shouldn't be kept to yourself. Most importantly, drop a comment below. What do you think Apophis represents? A scientific event, a biblical prophecy, or maybe something else entirely? Your voice adds to the collective dialogue, and that dialogue is what makes us stronger. So go on, like, subscribe, share, and comment. Together, let's keep our eyes open, our minds sharp, and our spirits ready for whatever the universe throws our way.